Okay, it's September, yeah, so it's time to drink Marzen March beer to celebrate Oktoberfest. Yeah, that's what we do. We drink March beer in September for Oktoberfest. Don't be confused, it's just German. It's a terrible accent. My ancestors would roll over in their graves. But we can thank our Bavarian Crown Prince, Ludwig, and Princess Teresa for creating Oktoberfest. You know, instead of having an exclusive party for the royals, they invited everybody in Munich to this multi-day festival as a celebration of their wedding. And it featured a horse race. That was the centerpiece of it. And everyone had such a great time that they started to do an annual event every year with more competition, more attractions. And eventually they got to a point where they said, let's just wear lederhosen and drink beer. So, of course, it's canceled this year like everything else, but this isn't actually the first global pandemic to stop Oktoberfest or cancel it. It was a cholera outbreak in the 1850s. But I actually want to focus on another German beer that involves cycling, the Radler. In fact, Radler means cyclist, and it's really wunderbar, right? After a long day in the saddle. And really, it's a simple mix. It's a 50-50 sparkling lemonade and lager. You call them shandies, you call them in the US and Britain, you call them claras, elsewhere. But the Radler was created by an enterprising Bavarian named Franz Kugler in 1922. You know, he started out as a railroad guy and then eventually moved on to selling sandwiches, and then ultimately as a restaurateur. He made a destination restaurant called the Kugler Arms, which still exists today, by the way. And it had a bowling alley, a dance pavilion, and it had all kinds of attractions there. And it was about 15 kilometers outside the city. And to capitalize and to get people there, capitalize on the cycling craze after World War I, he built a 15-kilometer bike path. And in June, he had more than 10,000 people show up at his restaurant looking for beer. So knowing this and being entrepreneurial, he started to mix sparkling lemonade and lager, and he called it Radlermaß, meaning cyclist leader, and which later became shortened for Radler. And so everyone loved it. It became a great success. But despite all this great success, it was verboten because of the Reinheitsgebot. If I said that right. I don't know if I said that right, but the Reinheitsgebot, the German purity law, that basically said you can only have 4 ingredients, and lemonade is not one of them. They eventually changed the law in the 30s so the big brewers could sell you a Radler direct. But it's a wonderful, wonderful, refreshing, accessible, low alcohol option. It's only about 3% for these. And I loved having these after a long day in the saddle. So, to Franz Kugler, to soon to be, or eventually, King Ludwig and his bride Therese, I say to you, Prost! Wunderbar!